Hello, everybody, and welcome to News and Views from the Nefarium on Thursday, August 1st, 2024. Before we get to the story, remember there is no vid chat tomorrow. There will be one. The August vid chats will start next Friday, so you've got the weekend off to prepare some good questions and comments. So that will be next Friday, but no vid chat tomorrow. Now, let's leap right into it. This move was to be expected eventually, but it's rather disturbing to find out that this particular move is starting apparently in Argentina. Now, they're already doing something like this, but this is really kind of the first dedicated ministry or government agency or department in the world, as far as I can tell, to come out and openly say what they're going to do. The article is from the United Kingdom's Guardian, and I just want to read a few initial paragraphs from here and then give you my personal speculation, high-octane speculation, about where all of this is going to go if we allow it. The headline is, Argentina will use AI to predict future crimes, but experts worry for citizens' rights. President Javier Milei creates a security unit, as some say certain groups may be overly scrutinized by the technology. And here's the first few paragraphs from this article, dated incidentally just today. Quote, Argentina's security forces have announced plans to use artificial intelligence to predict future crimes in a move experts have warned could threaten citizens' rights. The country's far-right President Javier Milei this week created the Artificial Intelligence Applied to Security Unit, which the legislation says will use machine learning algorithms to analyze historical crime data to predict future crimes. Now, let me stop right there. It is, I suggest, a predictive algorithm that is not only applicable statistically to aggregate groups, but what I suspect is really behind this is algorithms to predict potential future criminal acts on the part of individuals. That's what I suspect is going on here. It is also expected to deploy facial recognition software to identify unwanted persons, and it's that admission, folks, that makes me think this is much more than just algorithmic prediction of aggregate statistical behavior. It is also expected to deploy facial recognition software to identify wanted persons, patrol social media, and analyze real-time security camera footage to detect suspicious activities. In other words, this is a step definitely in the direction of the Tom Cruise movie Minority Report, where you have an actual department of pre-crime that goes around arresting people before they've actually committed any crime, based on what the computer in this case, some psychics, actually predict someone is going to do. To continue. While the Ministry of Security has said the new unit will help to, quote, detect potential threats, identify movements of criminal groups, or anticipate disturbances, unquote, the Minority Report-esque resolution has sent alarm bells ringing among human rights organizations. And I'm skipping one paragraph here. Amnesty International warned that the move could infringe on human rights. Quote, large-scale surveillance affects freedom of expression because it encourages people to self-censor or refrain from sharing their ideas or criticisms if they suspect that everything they comment on, post, or publish is being monitored by security forces, unquote, said Mariela Belsky, the executive director of Amnesty International Argentina, unquote. So there you have it. We have our first department of pre-crime in Argentina, And this is more than just a covert department. You'll note that this has been created by legislation. So the article goes on to note that this is a rather disturbing step in a country well known for previous human rights violations and an out of control security service that during the dictatorship period in the late 70s supposedly disappeared over 30,000 people. Now, I have no doubt that this could easily morph into a full-fledged Minority Report type of Department of Pre-Crime. So it's coming if we allow it. But I also suspect something else, and this is where it gets interesting. Suppose AI starts running amok. I just did last week and this week a blog about how artificial intelligence is, at least the models we have now, get into these feedback loops where they increasingly introduce more noise to signal and come up with insanity and gibberish. So imagine if this process starts to happen with any artificial intelligence algorithm that's designed to predict criminal behavior. What if all of a sudden it decides to start predicting that the International Fellowship of Quakers, for example, all of a sudden hits the criminality suspicion list because of their, whatever behavior Quakers display, or the Amish for that matter. The algorithms could run amok, and eventually this could turn against the very security forces trying to predict crime. In other words, I think we have to admit the possibility that it could run amok, go crazy, and ultimately leave security forces that are responsible for prediction and security against criminality or terrorist acts. It could so botch the job that we would fall back and be forced to fall back on human analysts who by that point, the Isaac Asimov scenario again in his Foundation series, humans forget how to repair things because computers have been running everything for so long that people have lost the knowledge of how to do it. And as the computers crash, the humans don't know how to repair the systems that the computers ran, and civilization falls apart. So this is a step that, again, the technocrats think is a step and of progress into the future, but it's not, I don't think, going to end up that way. It could either lead to tyranny or, like some other experiments in artificial intelligence feedback loops go, it could end up in gibberish and insanity and do absolutely no one any good whatsoever. So, more insanity out of Argentina. We might be blogging about some other news from that country this weekend. But that's it for today's very short news and views. We'll see everybody on the flip side. And don't forget, there is no vid chat tomorrow. Our next vid chat will be a week from tomorrow, weather permitting. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bye-bye. God bless, and we'll see you on the flip side.